Hello guys, welcome back to another cinematic mic review. Today I'm going to review HBO's The Last of Us, created by Greg Mason and Neil Druckmann. This is an adaptation of the popular video game known as The Last of Us. This is a very popular video game. I have never played it. I've heard about it so much. Like some of the big things already have been spoiled to me because I think a lot of people are bragging about it so much. People close to me would tell me about it, and it's cool. I heard a lot about it. I just don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't play video games anymore. I stopped like back then when I was trying to get my diploma at adult school because I think I was still stuck with video games, and then I realized that I was like playing still, and I'm like, dude, if you keep doing this, I mean, playing video games is addicting, man, and me, I'll get addicted to it. So I made this rule where I'm like, you know what, you can't play until you like you pass your classes, everything that your courses, and you got to go get your diploma. And on top of that, also, it's kind of like wasting time for me. Like when I had to do like serious things, like look for a job and all that around that time. I love playing video games. I actually been on a like nostalgic type of thing these last weeks, these last months. I've been telling my friends like, damn, I wish I didn't get rid of this. I wish I would have had this. And I go online to look for like the original console, and I freaking they're like pricey now, and I'm like, oh man. And I really would like to have all the ones I had. Like there's this thing that I don't know why recently I'm like, man, I miss video games, but I still haven't played. And I haven't played the Last of Us at all. But as I said, a lot of people have spoiled it for me, so I know like some big things that happen. I know it's an emotional story. A lot of people had talked about that, how emotional it is. I had people close to me that are in love with that story, that video game, and everything, the narrative, and all that. So I was kind of looking forward to it because it looked good as the HBO show. It looked pretty good. Then Chernobyl's Greg Mason's in it, and I love Chernobyl. I love that show that went on HBO for some time. And then Pedro Pascal's in it, which was awesome. A great actor right now. We all know him from freaking I think Game of Thrones, Narcos. He's been in a lot of other stuff now too. I just saw The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage. He's in that too. He's big now. From what started off, I think small. Like I think he got introduced. I think Game of Thrones was the one that really introduced him. There might be another one, but I have a feeling that's the one that kind of introduced me to him. And then I loved when he popped up in Narcos too. So that was pretty cool. Bella Ramsey's in it from also Game of Thrones is in it. She's in there. So they're the main stars. And yeah, so I got to check out the episode last night like everybody else, the premiere, and I think everybody in the world is getting excited for this. So it's pretty cool to watch it all like, together. And then brag about it online after. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed the opening. I really enjoyed the opening. I think they did really well with the beginning. It starts off with Sarah, played by Nico Parker, who's I think great in this episode. We follow her around the city and everything, and you could see sometimes as an observer, someone who's watched like a lot of movies. You can see kind of the cliches in it too, but right here, I was thinking about it. I'm like, what are they doing different? What's the same? Because these like zombie apocalypse, they're always kind of like the same. They always play out the same way. It's like every beat has to be the same. And this is the whole thing of like, oh, this is the day where everything was cool, everything was good, and then like the night or day that everything just turns bad out of nowhere. You wake up one day and it's like everything just went crazy. But when we follow Nico, you kind of like I was paying attention. It seems like the way that they're making us get fearful and I was like, oh, this probably has to do with that thing of like the fear is the mind and all that, And I saw that I was paying attention, and it seems like there's more close-up shots with her. I think from what I remember, I think it was close-ups more like not like close-ups way to her face, but more like tight shots, I guess I would say. And I think that's what made my mind start thinking, man, like had this eerie vibe to it, like around the city and everything. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's those tight shots that are helping tell this story, So I have a feeling it might have had to do with that, but I might be wrong. But from what I remember when I picked that up, when I was thinking about that, I was like, pay attention and let's see what they're doing. And what I picked up on was that they're doing a lot of tight shots. So it kind of makes you think, what's over there on that side? What's over there? Something behind her, So those are the things I picked up on. And it was I never played the game, so it was interesting getting in here. In my mind, there's some things that is this like the game or not. I had read stories that they were going to follow the game's narrative, that they weren't, And I remember I saw an article that said that people got upset because they're like, you see, you see, they're saying they're not going to follow the game narrative, and they're all pissed off. And I got surprised because I thought I saw something where it said like, well, nobody cares about pixels dying or something like that. But I'm like, well, all the talk that I've heard about this game is the story. I still think the writer of the video game is still a writer and telling a story. So I don't think you can just be that messed up to like be like nobody cares about. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense or not. But I had heard that, so I thought it was bad. And then like after I saw it, I talked to a friend, and he said that it was like as close as it could be, or like exactly like the game. So I was like, oh, cool, that's cool. Well, I really enjoyed it. I think Pedro Pascal does great. I think Nico Parker does great. Barely getting to know Bella Ramsey and all. And I did like the opening. It's like 30-40 minutes. The opening was like the best part of it. It was like the best part of it. And usually those are always the best part, is like the opening, or like when the tragedy is about to happen, or it's barely starting to happen, like the transition. And sometimes it's hard to pull off. And right now too, it was like I think we all like kind of tiresome of like zombie because of The Walking Dead. But last year I read an article about like the pilot episode of The Walking Dead, and Frank Darabont, and that's like my favorite episode is the pilot. And I love that somebody actually broke that down, because that's like the best episode for me in a like apocalypse movie or show. I think it's because of The Walking Dead that I got into like this kind of like cinematic TV, like when it was like, I guess, the golden age of television and all that. It was shows like The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, because I'm not into like sitcoms and all that type of stuff. That's why I would never watch like TV that much, because I didn't like it. Um, but I remember I gave a shot to The Walking Dead, and man, was I blown away by the first episode. I was like, oh damn! I'm like, I'm staying here. I'm like, I want to see the rest of this, and I think it was great. Obviously it fell downhill. I think after season 6 or 7, it fell downhill. I think in season 4, but then it picked up for me in season 5. Um, but after 7 and 8, I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. It's not my thing anymore. It kind of turned into some whole other thing. So I stopped watching it, and I was like, yeah, I'm over it. So now I'm like a while after, and plus that's over. I think from what I heard already, it's done. This is kind of a little refreshing to get back into like the zombie type of genre type of thing. I mean, it's not something that I would want to like disappear. We're always gonna have to have a zombie for like apocalypse for another generation and all that. And this is actually pretty cool. Yeah, I like that it was a little bit refreshing. It looks very cinematic. I think the visuals were great in it. Some things you can tell they're sets, but it's not like a bad set. I'm like, that's cool that they put in all that work, or if it's visual, or if it's a prop, or if it's an actual set, then I think that's great work for them. You know, I think that was great. And there were some things that I feared, like little things that reminded me of other like zombie movies from back then, and all the post apocalypse, like little like, I don't know what you say, like just these little things like that were in there that were like kind of like a nudge to like the zombie type of stuff. And I really like that. I saw that. And then there's this scene in a car where I think the what's his name, Joel and Sarah are in the car with, what's his brother's name, Tommy, I think. They're all three in the car, and they're driving, and there's a scene where the camera's like going all around as everything's going. There's like a crowd of people, and right away I was like, right now I'm thinking about Leo's little meme, like, but it was Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men, one of my favorite films by Alfonso. Children of Men from like 2006. I was like, dude, that's like a freaking, either you're referencing Children of Men or you're ripping off Children of Men. So right away I thought about Children of Men. I'm like, wow, they actually freaking did that. I was like, that's like basically what Alfonso did when they're pulling back and the camera is inside. And if you see the behind the scenes of Children of Men, you actually see it go, and it's going around. The camera's inside the car, and it's like turning around from inside and looking at all the chaos happen like from inside the car as all the people are running towards it. So I was like, that man, I see Children of Men in that, and I'm like, wow. And I see it, and it builds up, and I'm gonna say something. This is kind of like a spoiler, so if you guys don't want to see it, I would say watch it first and then come back. This is for the pilot episode. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would stop. Kind of gonna spoil it. If you already seen it and you just want to hear me, go ahead, continue. I didn't know who Sarah was at all. I think I forgot about that. And so when I got into it, I was like, wait, who's this? Because I was like, I thought the story was about Joel and Bella's character. I forgot what her name was. What's Bella's? I forgot her name. um, Bella Ramsey. What's her name again? Ellie, Ellie. Her name's Ellie. I was gonna say Lily. It's Ellie. But yeah, I I saw them and Sarah. I saw Sarah, and I'm like, who's this character? And we start off with her, and then and I'm like, oh, so I got curious, so I'm just following her around, and then obviously Joel comes in, and I'm like, doesn't make sense. Not even the promotion of them, like, and I'm like, wait, what? So I got a bit confused, but I was paying attention. I was like, just let me see it play out. And man, damn, does it turn into like some heartbreaking stuff? And I'm like, oh man, even I got emotional. I was like tearing up, and I was like, oh damn, that's messed up. And I got pissed. I was like, wow, so this is the whole thing that everyone was talking about, like from the video game and all. I was like, this narrative thing, So yeah, I never played the game. Part of me, like as I watched this, I was like, one part kind of regrets not playing the game. I think the last game I played was Red Dead Redemption when it barely came out, and that was the first one, not even the second one. I remember I wanted to get back into video games when the second one was going to come out. But I think the last new game I got was the Red Dead, the first one, and after that, I think I decided to quit. um, but damn, I saw that, and a part of me kind of regret, but a part of me, because you guys all know that I'm like into film. I love like writing and directing. So I was like, so I love going to the movies and seeing things visually on the screen. So playing out for me, and so no part of me didn't regret it. Part of me loved that I kept it like I didn't know all that, and I got to see it like fresh as the way that I enjoy it, watching it on the screen. And the production was great, the visuals was great. There was nothing that looked like kind of too like cheesy or lame for me. I don't know if I'll pick up on it later, but from what I saw, it looked great. It looked like a great first pilot episode, you know. And so I thought that was pretty good for the show, for The Last of Us. Um, After that, it does turn into a big cliche, into the whole, okay, 20 years later, now it's this. Groups are kind of like, the whole world went to shit. And it kind of does turn into the cliche of like, all right, let's go on an investigation, a mission, adventure, and then you run into like some trouble and all that, So it kind of goes a little bit cliche after that. So I got to say the opening was good. I mean, it's not bad where I could say, all right, it turns to crap, but it does turn into cliche. And that's, I don't know, it's the only thing you could do with this, But props to them for the first 30, 40 minutes of all of that stuff. Cause I can't think of another. I'm not gonna say it beats The Walking Dead's pilot episode. Not at all. Not for me. Not at all. But it's at least close to whatever came after that. Maybe to like, probably not even close, but good. For me, it's good. It's not bad. It's not horrible. I can't be like, yeah, but it's a good opening, a good pilot. And you get introduced to some other characters. And one of the characters I was looking forward to seeing actor is Nick Offerman's, because I seen him in the promotions, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna be in it. I want to see it. But I don't think he's gonna pop up until like later. And I was kind of devastated, upset that I was like, oh man, he's not in here. I wanted to see his character. So he's not in there. And things, it still has like its little twists and turns for me, where I'm like, oh damn, that what the hell, like little scary things where you're confused. I'm like, wait, what the hell, a shock for me, even with this kid that comes, like, I think after the emotional part, there's a kid that goes into the city, and then what happens to that kid, it's like, I already called it. I kind of already knew, but still it's like, wow, that's kind of horrible. But yeah, those are the things that I think about that stuff. As I say, I'm a narrative person. I like watching things on the screen and all that, so there's that part of me that doesn't really regret that, not playing the game. There's a part of me that does, but I don't know, maybe I did fine because I got to see it refreshing, but I've looked up reviews, and I saw that a lot of video game people actually liked it. And as I said, I texted my buddy last night, right? Did you see it? And he's like, yeah, I saw it. And he said that it was probably like the best adaptation of a video game. I don't know which one I could say was the best from that I played that was close to the adaptation of video game. I don't think I could pick. I'm not one to pick one of those because I don't think I've seen many of them. But yeah, he said it was pretty close, and I seen that a lot of people are seeing it. And I saw little clips, and I'm like, oh damn, they kind of followed the game, like, because my friend sent it to me. He's like, look at this, and then I'm like, oh damn, they actually kind of did the whole thing, kind of, So that's one of the things that I saw. I mentioned that Children of Men, and then he kind of was like, no, the video game was already like that. I'm like, bro, I bet you anything next day, or there's already a review right now that's gonna compare it to Children of Men. And he's like, no, the game was like that. And then what happens? I go and I look at reviews today and last night on YouTube, and then I find out that that was an influence for The Last of Us. I didn't even know that because I wasn't playing the game or anything. I didn't know anything about this stuff. You know, it's by the production of Naughty Dog, I believe, which is part of Uncharted also. But yeah, I saw that and Neil Druckmann, actually, I think he's the creator of the game. He said like years ago that Children of Men was an influence for The Last of Us. Well, I'm like, there it is. I'm like, I saw Children of Men in there, and the like, I've seen some things in it that brought back Children of Men in my mind. And Children of Men was one of the films I studied in my class too, a lot, which is a great film, and like a lot of stuff in there to like learn to how to visually storytell, So I threw him all those articles. I'm like, what does this say? What does that say? What does that say? I threw him the one that says that Neil Druckmann actually says it was an influence for The Last of Us. It was a direct like inspiration for him for The Last of Us. So that I was like, yeah, you see, there it is right there. Another thing that he said was like, there's not even zombies in it. I'm like, it doesn't matter about the zombies. I'm like, it matters that it's the same type of tone, the same kind of environment, it's the post-apocalyptic type of world, and it's there. And Neil Druckmann even says it. The other thing, I think when I said zombies last night, when I texted him, was like, yeah, this, because I was saying, I'm like, wow, it's kind of cliche, and it's still kind of the same typical zombie genre. So they're not zombies, they're called crickets or something like that. I don't know what the hell they're called, but I'm like, to me, they're still gonna be zombies. It's still like a zombie type of freaking type of creature, So it's in there, and that's what every critic is actually comparing it to. They're making their like comparisons to The Walking Dead, to the zombie apocalypse, to Night of the Living Dead, So yeah, but I mean, honestly, I think the directing was well. Even though I saw the clip of the video game, I'm like, they kind of basically ripped off the directing of the visuals in the game, kind of in a way. The directing is well. The performances are well. The characters are good. The writing is a bit good. The music. Oh, Gustavo's in here too. Gustavo. I can't pronounce his last name. It's so long. Like, and I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce it. And Gustavo, I love him from freaking his music in Narcos Mexico. I love his music. I'm pretty sure I know him from some other stuff, but the last one that I right when I picked up the guitar or whatever it is that he was playing, I was like, that's from like Narcos. And then when I saw the titles and it said music by Gustavo, I was like, there it is. I was like, freaking Gustavo's back in here from Narcos Mexico. Pedro Pascal's from the first Narcos. I was like, that was cool. And then I looked up, I found out that he actually it's the music from the actual video game. So that was pretty cool that they had him on it. I thought he was doing it for the show, but then for some reason, I found some of the music, and then I saw like the clip of the video game. I'm like, wait, was he the one that did the video game too? And I looked it up, and he's the video game. He does the video game score. So it's pretty cool. Gustavo's in it, great performance. A video game that's been praised so long that I haven't played. And it seems like a lot of the video game fans of this video game, The Last of Us, I think are actually happy with it, So that's pretty cool that they're actually close to it, and making those fans happy. I don't think you always have to make the fans happy all the time. I think some people overreact sometimes with dumb things, but I think it's cool that right here it's like an agreement with both sides and all, and it still works for me. I don't know anything about the game, so I'm not gonna be like, that's not like the game, or I actually liked it as the way it played out. I haven't seen one yet where someone's complaining about it. Maybe there's already someone complaining about it, but I haven't seen one. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that, the Last of Us, the premiere, how I felt, how it compares to the Walking Dead pilot, the connection to Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men, Gustavo's, the music right there. I'm trying to see if I can think of anything else that I wanted to say, as I always end up doing these videos and then I forget later. I'm like, I forgot to mention that. But so far it's good, and I think I'm gonna stay for the next episode, see how it goes. I'm afraid it might go downhill, but then again, I'm waiting for like Nick Offerman to pop up in it and see. But there's a part where I'm like, wait, is this the best part? And then after that, it just goes to crap after, Usually sometimes that happens, but But so far it's well made, I think, and it's something I don't got nothing to watch like for every Sunday right now. I think there's nothing going on, no new shows that I want, probably some movies and all, but this is like a new thing for us to watch on Sunday, the way we would watch like Walking Dead or Game of Thrones and all that. So it's another new show that all of us could watch. So I'm kind of excited to see. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you guys enjoy the video, please hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.